Yeah. Because sometimes we watch Crime Scene Kitchen. My husband and I love baking competition shows.
Yeah.
And like, would we still be watching this if Joel McHale wasn't the host? And I go, yes. Would I be loving it this much? Who knows? Who knows?
I mean, you probably wouldn't be loving it as that much because he is just truly a delight.
Oh,
So, welcome, Deborah, to Horror and Heels. Jen and I are very excited to have you.
Thank you.
This is Deborah Baker Jr. You might know her from The Great Indoors, or more to the theme of this podcast, Stand Against Horror, which was on the
Stand Against Evil.
Stand Against Evil. Sorry.
No, it's good.
As our viewers know, but Deborah doesn't, I was in a car accident last weekend, so I'm on a lot of medicine, so just keep trucking this train along, guys.
Oh my gosh, are you okay?
I am. I'm in physical therapy and stuff, but I'm doing okay, and I started pain management today, so some shots in my back. Things are going great.
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're okay. Oh my God.
Thank you. Yeah. So if I make a little mistake, that's the reason.
Great.
Stand Against Evil, which was on the IFC channel and now can be found in perpetuity on Hulu, which is fantastic.
Yes.
And are there any talks about a season 4? Because I really want to get that started.
Oh man, I wish. I really wish. Who knows? One never knows.
Right.
But no, 3 seasons. 3 seasons, a big deal for TV these days, though. So.
Right, that was
true. But you got to admit,
like
3 seasons left on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I don't think we knew it was only going to be 3 seasons.
Right. Most people don't. Most people don't.
Yeah.
And I do feel like so many shows are now writing season endings like they're getting canceled.
Yeah, they're like completing their stories
each season.
Because you have no idea.
Right. So I loved it. Jen was like, have you seen all of Stand Against Evil? I was like, I binged it like a crack addict because I didn't, in my cable package, I hadn't had IFC. So like when it first came out, I wasn't able to watch it.
Yeah.
And then I got Hulu, and my friends and Shudder Horror fans were like, you got to watch this. It's right up your alley. And I was like, yes. Yes.
Yes, it is.
I'm like, oh, this girl don't learn her lesson. Gold Team should have taught her, but she's just bringing that pig right
the
into
pig.
the
Parties.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, a strange mirror shows up. She's here for it. A Nubbins, she's just going to take it. Crime scene, she's going to take it. I'm here for her.
Yeah. Every I feel like every episode, it's like, oh, Denise is just like woken up as a new human today. He's learned absolutely nothing. He trusts everyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Your blind, hopeful optimism is what the world needs, honestly.
Oh my God. And the reactions, like the child, like wonder at everything. Oh,
You're
I can't.
I guess it was a demon, Dad. And he's like, Stan's like, you fucking think? Like, I really wish, honestly, it would have been done on Hulu, because just to see him curse at you would have been golden.
It really would have. Yeah. There's definitely takes that happened, but it just never made it to IFC.
Yeah. Are they on YouTube? Because I would love to see those.
And Dana Gould, I love that he wrote and directed, and also was in, correct?
He was in. He didn't direct the first season, and the second season we had duo directors. Yeah.
He wrote. Okay.
He wrote and created it. Dan was sort of his dad, basically. And if we were to really draw lines, Denise would have been Dana. But he decided to make himself, a different character. But yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, he was like, I think I want to do a show if like my dad was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And
I think that's a hysterical premise.
Started.
That's great. Yeah. Is he a good kisser?
It's funny. I don't think we actually ever like kissed in that scene. It was really interesting. Like, I don't think our lips actually ever touched.
Okay.
Yeah. And there were no takes either. He had a girlfriend at the time, and he was trying to be respectful. I was like, I don't care. I kiss people all the time. Whatever.
Or like,
But,
my husband will deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, he signed up for this. He knows what's going on. So, yeah.
So now you had said that some of your favorite episodes were Sleepover Party,
Yes.
which I thought, can we just talk about that? Because I feel like that episode really resonated with our fellow Bachelor.
I totally. I was
Jen.
like,
I feel like that was
Bachelor.
Jen's episode. Yes.
I was like, it's totally like. Do you watch The Bachelor?
So this is like, my friends hate me because of this. The only reality television shows I watch are like quaint, sweet British baking shows, pottery shows, and flower shows. Those are the only reality television shows I watch. Everyone's like, Deborah, why haven't you watched, like, do you know what's going on in The Bachelor? Do you know what's going on in The Bachelor? And I was like, I truly do not. I've never dipped my toes in, ever. I maybe watched with, like, my best friend, Karin. He was like, you've got to watch, like, Bachelor in Paradise or whatever it's called.
I don't.
And I, like, saw the crabs and I was like, I'm in it for this, like, B-roll, but, like, other than that, like,
I'm not interested.
Zero attachment to these people.
People have their things, their desire for reality show. I never try to push Bachelor. I never tell anyone you should watch it. I'm like, if you don't watch it, then you probably shouldn't, because I can't convince you to watch it.
She's never pushed The Bachelor.
I'm like, it's either your thing or it's not, and I can't try to convince you to watch it, because if I have to convince you, you're not gonna like it. So.
I mean, all my friends are still convincing me, though. So, I mean, you know, that's just the way it is. They still know what's going on because they're like, and then this happened. And I was like,
and you're like, I care less. Well, the wording that they
baking shows, they're too nice to each other, Deborah. You gotta watch the American ones. We're cutthroat. We'll lie.
I think because I'm such a sensitive soul, I just need that, like, very warm, comforting, beautiful humans towards one another. Like, that's as much as I can take. If I watch, I get very stressed out. If I watch any of those other ones, I cry. Like, this pottery show, one of the judges cries every time he picks up, like, a beautiful pot, and I start crying. So I just think maybe I know myself, you know, like, I'll be invested in a bad way.
Self-awareness is key. It's key. But the terminology they used in the girls' night episode for the fiance, it was hilarious, because they always say here for the right reasons, and they use that as one of the lines. And they had their sob stories, like the girl with the amputee leg with the heart of gold. I was like, oh my god, this is great. Like,
oh yeah,
it's so hilarious if you're actually a Bachelor fan, because they definitely took all the tropes and the cliches from the show.
Big time.
My favorite part of that was you drinking from a straw from the wine box.
That was a meme for, like, a GIF, a meme. I don't know. Both of them. I think it was a GIF and a meme for that. You can still find it. I have friends who've never watched the show, and they're like, you're drinking out of a wine box in this, like, text chain that I'm going. I'm like, oh, that's from the show.
No, you should have just totally been like, yeah, isn't that how we all do it? I'm confused.
Yeah.
It's a giant juice box, duh, guys.
It doesn't.
Well, it's funny. So
I mean, wine is grapes. That's juice.
Right, yeah. My husband doesn't drink whiskey. Now, for the whiskey that I would share with other people, I don't do this, but I do have a bottle that is just the Alicia bottle. I would not let anybody drink out of it. And I literally, during our watch parties, everyone sees me, I just do our shots straight out of it. I'm not dirtying a glass. Isn't this how we do?
Yeah.
It's
also, it's alcohol, so it's self-cleaning.
Right. It's eco-friendly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's true.
Good times.
And then your snack of, like, popcorn with maple syrup on it.
Love it.
Did you actually eat that? Was it good?
I actually ate it. You can't pretend to eat popcorn. There's no, and, like, the whole thing, like, anytime they gave me food, I wanted to stuff my face every time. I feel like that's Denise. She just, like, can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I'm going to, like, I have to, like, swallow it. Was the popcorn probably sitting on set for a while? 100%. Like, you know, it's like Georgia where we're shooting. And so everything, as soon as anything comes out of the bag, it's automatically like, meh. So, like, it was, like, soggy. I was soggy. Everyone was soggy, plus the maple syrup. It was great.
See, everything she's saying is why I won't move to the South. I never want to feel soggy.
No, you don't want to.
That's not a good description of a feeling. Like, that doesn't. doesn't sound nice.
I mean,
And that noise.
So clear. I know what I'm getting. She has painted a very clear picture.
Yeah. Every scene, if you see any sweat on my upper lip, it's real. That's not makeup at all. We shot outside of Atlanta, like at least an hour in like a beautiful like starburst direction. Every call sheet was like, you're going this way, you're going this way, you're going this way. And it was always like, we show up and there's like a snake handler and like a
goat handler.
We have to like clear this field. And I'm like, like everything was on location. They didn't build anything. They like found these old houses. My house, like the main set was incredibly haunted. A little girl died in there. Like everything was just like soggy, hot, filled with like bugs. The whole entire like crew, Janet and I were very lucky. We didn't think we were lucky, but we were like in this car because we were gonna watch this big like car explosion, like turnover. And I like came to set that day, and they were like, okay, we're gonna put you in this car to be like safe. And like we missed the whole thing, but everyone else is in the woods, and then everyone else got those tiny little bugs that burrow in your skin.
No, chiggers.
Those are called chiggers. Yep.
And Janet and because like I was like, you know what? There's a reason that we weren't that close. Like I said it in the moment. I was like mad that I drove an hour to see this like car turn over, but then everybody got those bugs. So yeah. Filming in the South with no sound stage is real.
Like, do you get hazard pay if you get chiggers?
Yeah, like
I need to know like what the compensation
was dealing out anything.
IFC was like, that's on you. IFC stands for it's fucking chiggers. That's what it stands for.
And I don't work for them anymore, so we can say whatever we want.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
I think we'd like to say season 4 is now not happening.
I mean, yeah.
That and our Midori sponsorship, Jen, just killing things left and right on this podcast. So what your favorite, not like story-wise, but what was like the best episode to
Oh, man. I mean, wonderful crossover. I got my friend Chris Mintz-Plasse from The Great Indoors.
Yeah.
For season 3. And Dana was like, I was like, he really wants to be in it. Can we just put him in like an episode? He was like, 100% we can put him in. So,
let's see. I feel like we should just put McLovin in everything.
I was like, McLovin, yeah.
Can we talk about like awkward teenager, like things have turned around, Chris, like you're doing fine, like things are good. Like you would not have gotten Emma Stone on a dare now. Like I feel like maybe you two should rekindle something because
he has a wonderful girlfriend. But he's truly one of my dearest friends. So that was like so much fun.
He seems very sweet.
Oh yeah, he's just truly the nicest. So I feel like because I got to like do that, and everything from like here on out, I feel like that's all I want to do is just work with my friends. It just makes it so much more fun and easier. So I truly love that episode. I really loved the episode in season 3 with all the puppets.
Yeah, nothing but Nubbins.
Yes, Nubbins, yes.
Because I just find puppetry so cool, and like they made the puppets so weird, and like I just thought it was so fun.
Oh my god.
And I'm also on a puppet show with Chris on Comedy Central, so like really full.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is it Crank Yankers?
No.
Or is it a different one? Okay.
It's a different one. It's called Larkin Son, and it's really fun.
Okay.
I used to be a puppeteer.
Did you?
In high school, yeah. Yeah, I went to puppet convention and everything. Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that, Jen.
It's such a beautiful art form, though. It's like
fun. Yeah. But that episode
you're not
cracked me up.
completely terrified of puppets. It's fantastic.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
The way the puppet kept talking shit to Stan, like
while
he's getting his butt kicked, I'm like, Stan's kind of winning this fight, and yet you're still trying to talk crap.
Also, what I do when I fight, so I felt very kindred with that puppet.
Like you're totally losing this fight, but you're still talking a lot of shit for somebody who's losing a fight.
I feel like that's the New York way. We're talking as we're going
Yeah,
down.
just as you're going down.
As we're going down. New
Were
York,
you-
we won't back down. That's our motto. We're not backing down. I'll die before
We'll
I
lose,
back
but
down.
we won't back down.
Yeah.
Were you a fan of horror before Stand Against Evil?
It's funny. I am such a fraidy cat, but I get cast in so many scary things. Like, I'm truly, like, I am the girl that ruins your Halloween because they have to shut down the haunted house. Like, I am not a good time. And I did makeup for Six Flags, like horror night, and like I couldn't even go and see the clowns that I painted. That's how terrible it is for me. And I think it just comes from like just growing up in Boston in a super fucking haunted house, and just like I'm very intuitive and feel things and sensitive. So like I just don't watch a ton of stuff. That's not to say that I haven't or have been tricked into watching stuff because people think it's just hilarious. Yeah, no, I've been just like really next to a lot of horror stuff, but I wouldn't say that I was like
horror adjacent
fan of it. It just comes into my life. And so like I did like all these horror plays that my theater company was like, we're gonna do this thing, and I'm like in like a super haunted theater that I ended up living in, and then like I got cast in Stan, and then I got cast as a witch and like this other thing. It was like I had to do like seances. I'm like,
why?
The universe just wants me
in the horror genre.
Go down on this, but yeah, no, I'm like such a fraidy cat.
So how was it then? How was it being on, like, were you scared every day going to work, or like?
Well, fun fact, I did not know that the house was haunted until season 2 when my parents came to like, I like felt stuff, but when you're on a movie set and there's so many people, like you just don't, just like sex scenes or like kissy scenes, like they don't feel like what you feel seeing it, because all the music and the editing, like it just doesn't feel like that.
It's
it just
the
feels
same
like
atmosphere.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't like have like a woo feeling like in the house at all. But my parents came to visit like in Georgia, and I was like, on one of my off days, I was like, the house isn't being shot right now. Let's go over and like just go see it. And there was a security guard outside. And I was like, hey, like I'm in the show. Like this is actually like my house in the show. Like my parents are here. Can we? And she was like, I'm not going in there. And I was like, what? She's like, no, I don't go inside the house. And I was like, what?
You're like,
And she told me this story, and like the owners had told her that this little girl had died in the house. She, like the other like patrol officers that are around, whenever they would like do the walkthroughs, they would hear people walking around, they would hear scattering in the kitchen, they would hear like things opening and closing. And I was like, okay. And she was like, well, you can go in with your parents, but I'm not going in with you. I was like, thank you, security officer.
Yeah.
So I take my parents in, and I've always learned to just be very kind and like open and like surround myself with white light. And so I like went in, and I was like, hi, I was like, you must be so scared. I was like, but we're like, I love this room and I love this house. And I like talked her down, and I like showed my parents around, and I was like, now we're gonna go. But then from that day forward, like I was like, I can't believe no one told us this. So of course I fire set, and like all of my like Janet, Nate, and I are like the bestest of buds still. And I was like, guys, there's like a little girl that lives in here. So we were all very respectful from that point forward, and like none of us ever felt anything weird. So
yeah,
I think it was just people that were there by themselves.
Wow.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, I feel like probably 90% of the houses in Georgia are haunted. So I mean, you were just rolling the dice on ending up in one. It's kind of like when I go to New England, I'm like, oh, something's haunted somewhere because
can't not be.
It is. Yeah. I think all the houses that I've ever lived in New England have been in my family for so many generations that I'm like, I can't be too scared because I'm related to you. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, like you're just like fucking with me, but also like we're related. So just like pipe it down.
Yeah.
And now you're still up in Boston, right? The Boston area?
Yeah, my family has a summer place like sort of near the Cape.
Okay.
Nice.
We drove just to change it up.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
And where do you reside full time?
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't like that face. Don't make that face.
Feel like I make this face up.
If it weren't for LA, we wouldn't have awesome guests. Hello.
this is true. Okay,
Yes.
I'll be kinder.
I will. In fact, I want
What
to
has Los Angeles done to like burn you so bad?
just not been the East Coast. She's an East Coast native. They just naturally hate.
I mean,
The
I
West
grew up in
Coast.
Boston. I get it, like, but
Yeah, I think you understand.
I get
Listen,
it.
honestly, Deb, if it wasn't for the industry, you wouldn't live there. If it wasn't for the even listen, my dear in my head friend Andrew Santino says, he's like, I die to move back to Chicago. It's just not feasible. And he's like, I don't have Rogan money. I can't just move wherever I want to. It's like, I'm in the industry. I got to stay here. That's what's keeping you all there. If that industry picked up and just moved their ass to another state, so would all of you.
Except
I'm
for-
going to sell you on Los Angeles. One,
Really not.
it's never soggy.
That's
Okay?
the thing I'm saying.
New
You never have
York
to
is
deal with the
also
soggy.
never soggy.
That's
Never
not true.
soggy.
I've been to New York and I've melted like a puddle because I've been in someone's apartment who has like a unit only in their room. One.
Okay, well,
There's no garbage on the street.
Oh,
People
yes.
throwing like piles and piles and piles and piles. Like I love New York, but the garbage situation like is
okay, well,
a
to be
bummer.
fair, I don't live in this. I live
Okay,
in the
okay.
suburbs,
Mhm,
so
mhm.
I've not dealt with the garbage situation.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a selling point. Didn't
Yeah,
know about
okay.
a garbage. If I
All
had
of-
to live in that, you might have been able to sway me.
Okay, we can surf in the morning and ski in the afternoon, or vice versa. There's
Which
no
would
mosquitoes.
be a selling point if I wanted to do either of those
Okay,
activities.
great.
Deb,
Okay,
It's not
Yeah.
good.
no
It's a tough
mosquitoes.
sell.
No mosquitoes.
That
at all.
might sell me, except that I've never once been bitten by a mosquito. So
Okay. Also, all of the restaurants that you love and hold dear to yourself, their chef also has a restaurant in Los Angeles.
that's probably the only thing you could get me on is food.
Okay.
But I have to be honest with you that 3 of my very dear friends who have restaurants on Long Island do not have restaurants in LA. So,
Okay, that's okay. Also, I'm not trying to get you to move there, right? That's not my end game. My end game is to like soften your view of Los Angeles. That you're like, I want a vacation there, though.
No, Jen knows I'm coming out to visit eventually. When
Yeah.
the time is
Face.
right.
I can see what your face looks like when you say Los Angeles.
That's her
This
face.
is that's my
her
end
Los
game. I want you to be like, okay, LA. Like, I don't need you to be like, I need to sign a lease. I'm just more of like I love LA. What a fun long weekend that was. Okay.
All right, so when she comes, we're all hanging out then. When Alicia comes to LA, we're all hanging out then.
Yeah. I mean, if I got to, listen, that would be selling me. If you said, Alicia, you come to LA, I'll have a drink with you, I'd be like, LA, what a fun place to visit. I'm booking my ticket. That's how you sell me on LA.
Great
Although
drink.
at this point,
Yeah,
though, I could be up to the Cape in 4 hours, so.
This is true. You could also come and have a drink with me on the Cape.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm very soggy here, and there's a lot of bugs.
Never heard soggy. I love it. I'm soggy
guess
right now.
I think the thing is that I do feel it when I go to other parts, but my house is a mile from the ocean, so I'm almost always encompassed with sea breeze. So I do agree there are parts of my area that get soggy. I just thankfully am very rarely subjected to it.
To the sogginess.
To the sogginess, yeah. I don't.
The house that I'm in has no this piece of wood is the only thing that's keeping me from outside, and it's like this big, and there's like a hole in the bottom.
So your house is like that's the house that like someone could just punch through.
100%. Come on in. No, these houses are like, there's definitely like houses in this community that are different than this, but this house has been in my family for so long, and New Englanders don't spend a lot of money if they don't have to. And this house, no, it's summer house, and that's it.
That's it. We don't need anything. We're good.
There's no AC. If you're hot, you can go swimming. And that's. So.
Are you like right on the water? Is there water around there? Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Well, that's why she's complaining about the mosquitoes, though, is because we have a problem, and honestly, I know we do have it on Long Island. I'm not allergic to their bite, so they never bother me.
Oh, wow.
But I also just pay the $60 a season and get my house sprayed. So
how's your deer tick situation?
Also, with that $60 application, it takes care of the tick.
Nice.
So, see, my idea of wealth, like, it's very funny, like, what other people's idea of wealth. To me, if I'm able to afford my guy twice a season to get rid of all my leaves, twice a year to get rid of all my leaves, and my exterminator, and I'm able to afford a fresh toilet bowl brush whenever I want one, that to me is wealth. I'm a happy lady.
That's success.
That and whiskey in my closet and my husband and my son in my house, I feel like a millionaire. My father was. So what happened was we had a very bad bee situation at my house, and I had to call the exterminator. And my dad was like, you could have gotten the stuff at Home Depot and done the bees yourself. My father's very New England in his mindset. Like, you know, Deb, like, if you can do it yourself, you're not paying anybody. It's fantastic. And I'm like, Dad, the products alone would have cost $30. So for a mere $30, I'm fucking around with bees. Get out of here. I'm paying Joe. He's coming. Anthony's gonna get this cleared out. It'll be fantastic. He'll take care of my bees,
I can sit and sip my whiskey. I'm good.
Yeah. $60 to save $30? No. I'll take on one extra client and call it a day. But no, to be fair, Deb, mostly I make this LA face to annoy, well, 2 reasons. To annoy Jen, and also because my best friend in the world moved out to LA because her husband's in the industry. So she was stolen from me. So I'm still a little angry about it.
You're a little salty about it. You're
a little salty.
Yeah, understand.
Okay. I make the same face for Florida because it stole my other best friend.
Just all the states are taking your friends. But this is how I met. Do you remember me at all? But you can say it. I won't cut it out.
I 100% do remember meeting you. We went to a Halloween party that was Game of Thrones themed.
Yes.
Do you remember what I was dressed up as?
Oh, yes, I do. And I was going to say that because I didn't recognize you so my brother's like, he's like, oh, let me introduce you to my friend and his wife. And so I was like, oh, hi. And so we're talking shit. So this woman is dressed as George R.R. Martin.
Love it.
Oh, complete, like, to the nines, like, beard. She looks like an old fisherman, and I'm like, that's awesome, because it's a game. I'm dressed as Daenerys because I gotta be cute. And I'm like, she's cool, and, like, here's George R.R. Martin with, like, the full-on suspenders, like, what was it, like a lumberjack button-down shirt.
Oh yeah, I think I wore like a khaki shirt, suspenders, like high pants, the beard,
yes.
the weird hat, like the whole thing. And my husband was dressed up as the shame woman with the bell, which I also made that costume. We feel really good about ourselves.
It was very cool.
We really pride ourselves.
It was.
Walk into a room and have people like audibly gasp. That's what we are going for at a party.
Love that.
I like it.
I actually had the Daenerys costume because I went to another Game of Thrones. We had, like, my friend put together this Game of Thrones tournament party for the finale, and we had food themes. Like, people brought the faces, like, you know, the faces. Like, my friends go all out for these parties, so I already had that costume ready. So when he said he had a Game of Thrones party, I was like, sweet, I already have my costume. And then we're standing there talking. He introduces me. I'm sorry, what is your husband's name? That's terrible of me.
No, that's totally fine. T. Michael.
Okay.
He looks like T. Michael. I think that's what Foster calls him.
Yeah, so he's like, T. Michael, this is his wife. And so I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm talking to Deborah. And as she's talking, I'm like, that voice. I'm like, her voice, where do I know that voice from? And so I look at her and I was like, are you? I was like, are you from Stand Against Evil?
Because let me tell you, could my night get any better from walking in and having the host be like, also dressed as George R.R. Martin, and be like, oh my God, I love your outfit. And then to be recognized for this like very niche show in front of like anybody is like such a feather in my cap that I'm like, okay, great. It's happening. Oh my God, it's happening. Because like, I'm not famous. And to be like recognized for anything is like, you know, it feels good.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Is it really publication?
And it was purely by your voice because I couldn't, because you had everything on. So I was like, I don't recognize her face, but her voice. And then immediately my head went to, I was watching Stand Against Evil with Foster one day, and he's like, oh, that's he's like, he recognized your voice from the show. And he's like, I think that's my friend's wife. And I was like, oh, okay. So my mind immediately went to that. And I was like, yes, that's her. And I got so excited. And she was I was fangirling. And I don't fangirl very often.
I'm glad you admitted it because your face was saying it.
I was so, just because I loved the show so much. And she's just one of the best characters. And I was like, oh my God, me and my dad love your show. I was like, would you call my dad with me from this part? And she totally did.
100% more people, let's do it.
So we went into the house and went into the kitchen and we talked to my dad was excited about it. It was so sweet. And I was like, after that moment, I was like, wow, she was the sweetest
person ever. You really know
ever.
who it was though, because I was dressed up as George R.
It was I think I had to tell him because it was loud and he could barely hear you. But once I told him, he was really excited about it. But it was the sweetest thing. And I was like, oh, she was so sweet. I loved it.
You just have such a positive, fun energy. I feel like every party should just put Deborah on their guest list.
Right. I would.
I love a good party, and if you make it a theme, I will go 500.
She will. I can vouch for that because she definitely did. Back to the Girls' Night episode. So you were in the scenes with Jeffrey Combs, right? Did you know who Jeffrey Combs was?
This is a fun fact. I know nothing. There would be Dana's friends with so many people, and I think there's a big everybody of the four of us is much older than me, so there would be a lot of, and especially Dana's knowledge wealth of everything you could geek out on. I was every day he'd be from this TV show from da 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 da, and I'm like, oh, Dana, just tell me what you want to say, or show me a video, because I really truly don't I would always just feel so less than, because I don't know that reference. I don't know what you're saying. I'm so sorry. And he's friends with everyone. So a lot of times, I'm sure some people were really bummed out that I wasn't oh my God, hi. I'm gonna be oh hi, so nice to meet you.
Yeah, you're okay.
Just because I'm not good about that. Even even some of my really famous friends who have been super famous people that I probably should know, I'll meet and I'm oh my goodness, it's so nice to meet you. How do you know? I'm such an idiot. So you know the answer to this question. So I'm just oh my goodness, everybody that came to set, I'm oh my goodness, thank you so much for being on our show. This is craft services. Come over here.
I love that about you. I'm loving everything about you. You are my husband. I once said something, and I go, Beyonce, and he's just looking at me, and I go, Beyonce, and he's like, yeah, I gotta be honest, I couldn't pick her out of a lineup. I go, once again, Beyonce. I was flabbergasted. I say things to him, and he'll just be like, no. I'll be like, we watched that show 2 days ago. He'll be like, no. Today, he said today. Now, couldn't have told you your name. He was like, oh, the one you like with that, demon fighting comedy that you watched the other day. I was like, yeah, babe, that one.
Yeah.
That one.
I feel like people probably would never recognize my face, but if they were oh my gosh, it sounds like a child's in the next room. Oh, that's an adult woman. Oh, I think I've maybe seen her on something. That's how I recognize I'm going to connect the dots that way. They won't any other way. But Beyonce, who doesn't know Beyonce?
Right? I try not to know who she is, and I can't help it.
Well, that's the thing. Some people he now knows just because we watch or have watched so many things, because so I made him watch Community. Really, it's only Joel McHale that he knows. And
makes my heart giggle. I'm texting him immediately after this. I'm gonna be just so you know, I just met 2 fangirls. It will make me speak.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, because, the funniest ever Joel McHale conversation that my husband and I ever had, he was on Match Game, and he was standing next to Rachel Ray, and Ed goes, I didn't know Rachel Ray was so ridiculously short. I go, she's not. Joel McHale is 6'5", and he goes, why do you know Joe McHale's height right off the top of your head? And I'm like, I know a lot of things about Joe McHale. And he's like, so then the other day, now Joe McHale hosts Card Sharks. I'm like, oh, honey, he loves that game. What? He doesn't care who hosts it. I'm like, ooh, there's a new Card Sharks. He's like, don't say that like you're doing it for me. He's like, I'll watch, but let's just be honest.
Be honest.
I'm like, well, if there was a celebrity you even could name that you had a crush on, he's like, I get it. Like,
who is his person though? Like, who would he like truly melt into a puddle about if he saw him in real life? The Queen of England.
God, no.
I was really hoping.
That would be
funny as hell.
Amazing.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Definitely maybe a pro football or hockey player, but I gotta tell you that I'm not entirely sure. Maybe Gretzky, maybe Mark Messier, maybe, and not entirely sure he'd be able to pick them out of a lineup if I didn't go, hey baby, that's Mark.
Are you guys Yankees fans or Mets?
We don't do the baseball.
Okay, no baseball. I was like, what about like A-Rod or something? Or like, what about like Paul McCartney?
No, oh God, no, not the Beatles. He likes like.
topics.
Oh God, don't have to be.
The Beatles. I was steer right. Keep going. Do not stop.
This is what I'm saying. So my husband's true joys are video games and anime. So not things that people are really in.
Okay.
Maybe like a creator of one of his favorite animes might like pique his interest.
Does he like superhero movies?
If I make him watch them.
Okay.
I love this.
He doesn't dislike them. He won't seek them out on his own. Oh, Nick Swardson from Mama's Boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
they
specific.
actually are Grandma's Boy, right? Nick Swardson. Yes, Grandma's Boy. That was actually the first movie we watched on our first date.
Aww.
He was like, I think you'll find this really funny. And I was like, and then he was telling me who's in it, and he got to Nick Swardson. I'm like, I'm sold. I love him. You can put it in.
Oh, we're good.
So yeah, maybe Nick Swardson. We like comedians. In my head, I am one. So
You are.
Yeah.
I'm always working a tight 10 at work. Always.
Good.
But yeah, so but even like if we didn't watch things with like, oh, he could pick Alec Trebek out of a lineup, God rest his soul, back in the day. He would probably have been excited to meet him for me. Or like if we were somewhere and he saw Stephen King, he would probably get really excited if I was with him or if he could get me an autograph, because like Stephen King's my number one. But yeah. Like sometimes I'll even say a family's member's name. To be fair to my husband, there is 40 of us, and he'll pause and I'll be like, so-and-so's husband, and he'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm with you. Or like when we had Brendan on the podcast, I'm like, we're having Brendan on the podcast today, and I go, and to be fair, he has a friend named Brendan, but Brendan, as lovely as he is not tied into the horror community at all. No. I'm like, not that Brendan, my Brendan.
Oh, our Brent. It's
Brent. No, Brendan, the author.
Brendan. Oh, yes.
Which makes it even more funny because he met Brendan with me. Like, he knows him, but just whoosh, right out his head. That's what I'm married to. But also, it's very good to be married to a man like that because they hold no grudges because they remember nothing.
They're done.
They retain nothing. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Ugh.
People ask me what we fight about, and truly nothing. Once a year, we have a fight about him not wearing sunscreen. He'll come home burnt.
After he's gotten sunscreen. Yeah.
And I go, well, every year we have a fight about you not wearing sunscreen. I'm like, deja vu is now happening again. And that's our yearly fight. What do you and your husband fight about the most, Deb?
What do we fight about the most? We don't fight that often, which is really like gross and disgusting to say, I'm sure.
I like that.
No, we don't either. It's like, I love hearing that.
Yeah. No, we don't. Like, if anything, we just lament and like vent together about stuff.
I love that.
like right before I got on this podcast, my parents went to a Sox game tonight, and I'm taking care of all of the dogs in the house, including our 2 dogs. And my cousins who are in the other house on this like family property came over with their kids, and my dog is really, really, really scared of children for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Anyway, my dog
smart. Children are the devil. Love my son. I love you, TJ. I love you. Go on.
But truly, he like I think he thinks children are like other puppies, and so like doesn't know how to control himself. I'm not sure. But they like were running around the house. Everyone was running around the house, and then they left. And I was like, okay, Michael, like I have to get ready for this thing. And I went back to the back like room, and like there's just like long hallway. And I was like, and I like look around into like one of the guest bedrooms, and the entire bed is covered in poop. And I was like, and I like scream at the top of my lungs, and like Michael's like working right now because he's on California hours. And I'm like, Michael! Like, what? And then so like. Did we fight about it? 100% not. But we were just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
What are we gonna
Like,
do?
that's something that like we could have totally like fought about because like
Yeah.
I mean I don't know, they're like my family that came into the house, but like no, like even that didn't set us off.
It's just some
I'm the
situation.
type of person, I would have just taken a large garbage bag, all the items, thrown it out, and called it a day.
But that's what he was like. He's like, so I think we're just getting new bedding, and I was like,
Yeah.
my mother will lose her mind if we
Oh,
throw out all of these things. So everything is being bleached right now.
Okay.
And it's going to be great, and it's going to be fine. And there's just going to be new rules about children in the house.
Yeah.
God bless you, because I would have been like, Mom, move on. It's done.
I feel like it's salvageable.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. And with bleach and some hot water, it'll be fine.
And thank God all the bedding's all white anyway, so it's like
Yeah, so it's not
be
going to
fine.
destroy it. Yeah.
My son only ever, and now we're potty trained, so it's almost over, but he only ever ruined 2 outfits via poo. And let me tell you, I tried, I was like, bring the garbage bag, boom, 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 done. Go. I mean, thankfully they were not his good outfits, but I was like, I don't have the stomach to try to salvage that situation.
No.
No. God bless you for trying, Deb.
I can't even imagine. Can't even imagine.
Now, how many dogs are currently residing in this house?
4.
That's a lot of dogs. My sister-in-law, that's her daily. She owns 4 dogs. I'm like, they just took a road trip to Colorado from Texas with 4 dogs. I'm like, God bless. Better you than me.
Yeah, we have a really small, sweet little dog that we've had for over 11 years now. She's like 6 pounds. Her name is Pearl. We rescued her from South Central. She's like a terrier something mix. She's old and salty. I have no, like I think she's got to be like 14. She has none of her teeth left. She can hardly see. And then we have Bruce, who my husband works for Disney, and so he was working on this dog sled movie, and Disney's really great about like adopting out all of the dogs after they work. And so we got this puppy from this movie. And so now we have him, and he's wonderful, and he's going to be 3 this week. But he's really, really sweet. Bruce.
What does your husband do for Disney?
He is in physical production now. So he like I'm really bad about explaining his job.
I can't. But every time I try to explain my brother's job, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
When he was working with your brother, he was in more of the development side.
Yeah.
He's in the physical side.
Okay.
And it's in the same floor, and he works with a lot of the same people. And I will tell you, when COVID hit, he had like 25 films all over the world that he had to figure out how everybody would get back to the United States. So
wow.
That's
stressful.
But he's really busy all the time. And that seems like very stressful. And I'm happy I don't have that job.
Yeah, no, it sounds stressful, and I too am glad.
Yeah.
Now, is that how you guys met, both just being in the industry?
Yeah, he started out as an actor. So we had like actor friends, and I was at an acting conservatory, and he was at another acting school, and we had mutual friends, and like we were sort of like mutual friends for a little while. And then this is I feel like I start to need to like brace people for this part of the story, because it is we're going to take a hard turn. I was hit by a car.
Oh.
And
Okay.
in a hit and run crossing the street in Los Angeles.
I hate to run.
On foot. Yeah.
We find that person.
I don't think we ever will. I really don't, because this was a very long time ago.
Oh.
And I was sent to.
I know a lot of psychics. I'm getting on this.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm at peace with it now because I lived. So, but
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and we're very glad for that, but I'm just heard about this, so I've not had time to get into
Yeah, we're not at peace with
Go
it.
through all the stuff. It's fine. But yeah, I had like all these teeth knocked out, which I was really bummed out about because I'd never had a cavity, and I had to have plastics. If you're gonna get hit by a car, do it in Los Angeles though, because I had to get new teeth and plastic surgery. So like, win for me for doing it there.
I mean, you were in the right spot.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, like, could you imagine if it was like Alabama?
Yeah.
Not a state that values their teeth.
I was gonna say the
know?
teeth is not.
No. Oh gosh. But yeah, my mom.
I mean, you look fantastic. There's no scarring, no nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
There is, but they did a really good job.
Oh, yeah.
Like enough that just like a little concealer, like, and you're good to go.
A tiny little bit of concealer, and because our lips are formed the way they are, I think like, the shadow of this like hides it a little bit.
Oh,
but it's from here all the way down to here.
Wow.
And these teeth were like like they broke off and like were embedded. You're listening to see what I'm doing with my hands, but
I'll take a picture.
Great. Anyway, but yeah, and my mom, Deb Baker Sr., because I'm named after her.
I was wondering about that. Yes.
It is my real name. It's not like a gimmick or anything. Side story. She was like, if people can name their kids Apple, I can name my daughter after me. So that's what we're doing.
Totally.
And I have had so much pushback my entire life, including the nurse that was like there for like my birth certificate. She was like, but you had a girl. And she was like, yeah, no, I know. And she wouldn't wait for like, she had to wait for my dad to come into the room to like double check with him.
Wow.
Long live the 80s. And she's like, did you see what she's trying to do? He's like, no, we talked about it. Like, it's fine.
Wow.
Anyway, so Deb Baker Sr.,
Wow.
she.
And that was like another woman, like.
Right.
Talk about the sexism is coming from inside the house. Jesus Christ.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer.
I'd be like, you consult him for the one he pops out. How about that?
Right.
Yeah. I said that. Like, people are like, so did Ed have a say in the baby's name? I'm like, did Ed birth the child? And they looked at me. I go, you don't birth it, you don't name it.
You can name the one that you birth. That's my rule.
Yeah.
The one that pops out of your whatever is the one that you get to name.
Yeah.
Them's the rules. I don't make them.
Name the dog we adopt. There you go.
Okay.
So
Deb Baker Sr. was very concerned. She's like, my mom, she loves us all a lot, and she's like this very loud Lebanese woman who was going to tell you the worst possible scenario at all times. So she was convinced that I was going to die, and that if I fell asleep, I was going to die, and that someone needed to watch me because I was going to die. So I called all of my friends, and it was around Thanksgiving, and I was like, I think I'm going to die.
I'm dying.
I think you need to come watch me. And all my friends were like, I'm like on my way to my family's house. Like, it's Thanksgiving. And I was like, cool. I just like left Cedars-Sinai, but that's okay. Happy Thanksgiving. Like, calling people. And so like finally I was like, hi, Michael. I know we're like not like super close. And last time like we hung out, like you didn't understand my advances. But my mom thinks I'm gonna die. So I got hit by a car. Can you come over and watch me? So he came over.
This is the most horrible, adorable story ever. I'm dying. I can't even. Oh my God, this is the best.
Yeah, so he came over and I like had no teeth. I couldn't walk. I was like I tried to like get to the door to even like open it and like get him in and like whatever, and then he went and picked up my mom at the airport, and I was like, hey, just like heads up, and like on a ton of drugs. I'm like, she doesn't look anything like me. I know I'm blonde, but my mom's like a very dark Lebanese woman, and so like and he was like, okay, because I think like when people meet me, they think like, oh, you're gonna have like a like I don't know, fancy white lady mom, and I don't. We don't. everybody thought she was the au pair growing up, you know, like that's not what we don't look like. So I was like, so I gave him that heads up and he was like, okay. And he picked her up and then we've been dating ever since.
Wow.
That's horrible and adorable all at the same time.
So
now, did your mom be like, now that you've gotten my daughter through death, you have to marry her? Like, what was the deal?
No, I don't think my mom ever wanted me to marry anybody. Oh. I think she was like, that's going to impede your progress.
She was like, don't get distracted. Don't get distracted.
Like, I don't think you need anybody. But
I think that's good. Like, that was always my dad, too. He's like, if you find someone, you find someone. But, like, it doesn't, because my dad raised me by himself. He, like, he was just like, whatever, like, just never settle. Like, wait for the person who's going to be, like, with you in your growth. Like, Ed, like, loves that I do the podcast. He sets up, like, my microphone and stuff. And the few times I've tried to be independent and do it myself, as our listeners know, the microphone inevitably falls on my head. I have to scream for Ed anyway. He's like, just let me set it up. I'm like, I want to be an independent woman. He's like, oh, didn't want to be independent when the garbage had to go out this morning. I'm like, no, I'm not independent.
The garbage can't hurt you, you know?
Yeah. Now, you said there's a lot of you. How many siblings?
So I'm the eldest of 3.
Okay.
And then
me too.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my sister is married.
Wait, I guess I am now too with my stepbrothers. Oh, yay!
You're also the eldest? I mean, this is why we connect so well. Yeah, my sister is married and she just had a baby last month. And then my brother is also married and he lives with his husband in Los Angeles. So we all live in LA together, which is super lovely.
Oh, that's great.
And then I'm one of 13 cousins on both sides.
Oh, wow.
And I'm very, very, very close with all of like that extended part of my family. Like it's kind of like those cousins are my siblings. So when we're here, it's my dad's family. I'm incredibly tight knit with all of them. So like their kids are kind of like my nieces and nephews almost. So
that's awesome.
It's really fun.
Oh, I love that.
And where is your father from? Your
Boston. So my mom and dad met at BU. They're both from Boston.
Okay, but where was his family from? Because you said your mom's Lebanese. What is his background?
Everything white.
Oh, just like my husband. That's what I say all the time.
Like not like the white that you like normally think, like translucent white. Like he blinds you in like on the
oh my Iceland, like Sweden, Scotland, Norway,
Irish, Scottish, all of the things very translucent.
Yeah, that's my husband.
And my mom is very, very, very dark. I was born in Baltimore, and I was the only white baby born in the hospital. And my mom, she's mistaken for a lot of different ethnicities, but when I was born, it was in August, and she was like standing there and she was like, oh my goodness, I was the only white baby, like very, very much like standing out in Baltimore. And like looking at me, and like these other parents are coming and they're like, which one's yours? And my mom's like, this one. And they're all like, that's not your child. That's not your baby. That's not your baby. And she's like, there's mine. But yeah, my mom's family, came here from Beirut and in Boston.
That's awesome.
Not that I knew any of this growing up, but it was all very like, I don't know, Boston's a funky place, but yeah. So I wish I had more ties to Beirut, but I know very little.
But there's still time to learn and.
Oh my gosh, yes. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna go there at some point.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I want to hear more about these advances that you made before the car accident. Like, what were these advances that you made on Michael before the accident that he did not pick up on?
So we first met 3 years before the car accident. So we met at a party, and I am just like a little bit older than him, and everyone at the party was like, we've run out of beer, and I was 21, and I was like, okay, like I can go get some, but I don't have a car. He was like, I have a car, I can go get some, but I'm not 21. And I was like, okay, well, I'll go. And so we went to if you come to Los Angeles, there's a Ralph's, which is our like Stop and Shop, or Albertsons, what have you, wherever you are. But Ralph's is like the grocery market in Los Angeles. And this particular one is called Rock and Roll Ralph's because it's on Sunset, and you'll always see like some celebrity there. They've like really taken on the name. They've like changed the sign to say Rock and Roll Ralph's. And we went to Rock and Roll Ralph's to go get some beer, and his truck broke down. So I had to call a friend, and we like just like hung out in this truck. And I remember being like, I think that's like super cute. And I felt absolutely nothing from him. I'm like, okay, whatever, like this isn't gonna happen. Meanwhile, like years later, we've talked about this, and he's like, oh yeah, no, I was like attracted to you, but like I like wasn't gonna go after any actresses because they're just like too much, you know, there's just like a lot of drama. And I was like, oh, okay. So like we were friends, and like we were like, you know, I wouldn't say like super tight friends, but we were in the same like friend groups, and we hung out all the time. He saw me date a lot of other people before this car accident. Yeah. There were multiple times where I definitely made my feelings, I don't know, like flirty stuff.
Right.
Over its head.
They don't get it.
I feel like Deborah and I have very similar husbands because Ed too, we lived in the same apartment complex. I like said hello to him a bunch of times, and then we were both at one of my oldest college friends' housewarmings. They worked together, and I was like, this is a sign. I'm flirting hard. I'm locking it down tonight. And I was like, when I said hello to him, I'm like, hi, yeah, you're Ed. You work with Ralph. You live in building 2 at Pine Hills. And he's like, I'm like, I live in building 1. I've said hello a bunch of times.
So
he's
many
like,
times.
Oh. Why are men so
I don't know.
clueless?
I don't know. They don't get it.
Deborah, look at this gorgeous specimen that is on the screen with us. And you should follow her Watch Jen Jate thread, because really, guys, men, you're not giving us your best. You're giving us even SpongeBob is doing better.
It's so
Who
bad.
lives in a pineapple on the sea? Do better, man. Do better.
Dating pool is just, it's awful. It's awful.
Deborah, do you have anyone for? Do you know?
I'm gonna work on it. I'll work on it for you.
Oh, okay. I would appreciate it.
Also, when I come back to Los Angeles, we'll go get drinks.
Yeah.
I'm a great wing
Are you a
woman.
good wing woman? I was gonna say.
Great wing woman.
I sense she is.
I am running out of wing women. They're all getting married, and I'm like, meh. So.
No, I feel like married women make the best wing
No, they don't
women.
have time to go out with me because they're married and they want to be at home. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm always out.
Who are these people you're hanging out with? I have so much time. I love to go out.
Girl, let's go out, please.
Well,
let's go out.
Clearly, their husbands aren't working as much as ours are. Deborah. That's the difference. Oh my God.
I'm for that. I'm here for that. Deborah, you are our first female guest, actually.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
All of our guests so far have been men, so you're our first female guest on the show.
I feel so honored.
Yeah.
When Jen told me that you and her had discussed being on the show, I was like, I was at work. I get the text message from Jen, and I'm like, I feel so cool right now. And everybody at work, I was like, so there's this girl, Deborah Baker Jr. She's in Stand Against Evil, and she was on The Great Indoors, and I adore her, and she's gonna be on my podcast, bitches. And they were like, okay.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. This makes me feel very good.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about it. Like,
yeah, another heel for our group.
Yes, we need more heels on here.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. You need to get there's so many cool chicks, man.
I know.
Yeah, definitely.
We are down.
We are so down. We'll have anybody. Now another thing you could help with. I know we just did talk about women, but do you happen to know Jason Mantzoukas? You knew it was coming. I ask every guest.
See, that is her guy. I think it's Jason Mantzoukas.
Is that like your number one?
Jason's my
and
number
then
one.
Joel McHale. Yes.
Oh, man, Joel McHale's number 2.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's number 1. If you can work anything with that, I'll.
Here's the thing. Joel McHale seems great. However, I happened to listen to How Did This Get Made? And Jason Mantzoukas was on the Gilmore Guys podcast all the time, and just listening to outside things that he has said personality-wise, I feel like the two of us could just have a nice cup of tea, because I know he loves his tea. And I feel like we would have a lot to discuss, because I'm a happily married woman. I'm not looking to have a physical relationship with anybody. I'm looking to have a communicative relationship with somebody. And I feel like Jason and I have a lot that we could discuss together at length.
I don't know him personally, but I have so many circles that intersect with his, if that makes sense. I feel like because I did comedy at UCB, I have so many.
I was going to say.
Yeah, overlapping.
Yeah, a ton of overlapping. And like,
did you do UCB with like Ben Simon and all of them?
So my UCB was like right above. Not that there were grades, right? Like, no, but right above me was like Lauren Lapkus and Betsy Sodaro and like Mary Holland. I feel like they were the grade above me, if you know what I mean. Right. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I've been there with like.
Who was in your UCB group?
So I would say the person that was like closest to me, who is my best friend now, is Karin Sony. Who, we were in UCB together. Yeah, but like I was on, I like was a pinch hitter for pinch hitter. That's right. That's the saying, right?
Yeah.
Pinch hitter.
Yeah.
Pinch.
Yep.
Yes.
Pinch hitter. Yeah.
Meaning pinch,
but that didn't sound right.
Yeah. No, that was right.
Like sport, am I right?
And you pick the sport I don't follow.
And I am like a Red Sox fan. Oh boy. But I would like sub in for Maude all the time. So like I was on Mary and Nicole Byers' team for a little bit, and then they're wonderful. They're really lovely.
No, Nicole Byers is her girl crush.
Yeah.
Really? She's
I don't understand. Like, I listen to her podcast, Why Won't You Date Me, all the time, and I'm like, Nicole, I totally would have. I adore everything about her. And when people say, I just think also she's just so great for the body positive movement, because she's always just so happy. She's so beautiful, and she dresses flawlessly. And I love Nailed It, and that bitch commits to a bit. I mean, she fell off a table and just rolled across the floor and kept going. Like, that's a commitment to a bit that I appreciate and can get behind in a person.
Yeah, she's an amazing human.
Yeah.
Truly. So like those are my like circles of people at UCB, and all of those circles like interconnect and like whatever. Yeah, I was on a pilot with Jenny Slate and Rebel Wilson. I think that would be my like closest help for you. But yeah, if you like needed me to really like make the
pilot, Jenny Slate, you and Rebel Wilson, that didn't go anywhere.
Oh, it gets better. It gets better. Edie Patterson, who's on the Righteous Gemstones, was also in it. I'm trying to think of the other people that were in it.
Go anywhere. Pilots are so fucking weird. I don't understand it. No, because like now that I listen to all these podcasts with people who are in the industry, you hear so much about like pilots just being deaded for like the most ridiculous of I don't get pilots. I don't.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, that was CBS's like last pilot that they shot that year. It was like my big break into like like I'd done a bunch of like little things, but this was like my biggest thing. I was playing Rebel's sister. They were like, this is the pilot that's gonna go. Like everybody's so excited. Like everyone in Hollywood was talking about it. It didn't go.
That's crazy.
And like we found out like 2 days before upfronts, which is where they like announced the shows for the season. And then Rebel like called all of us and she was like, I feel like it's not dead yet. ABC's really interested. And so then ABC or like someone else picked it up. It like had this like weird like roller coaster of things. And then ABC ended up like picking it up and recasting a lot of us.
No. What?
Yeah, and it turned from like a multicam into a single cam. So it like the show went, but I wasn't a part of it.
Oh no!
Wait, can you tell us which show it went?
Of course, I mean you can find it on IMDb. It was Super Fun Night. Ashley Timpson replaced.
That sounds familiar. Wow. Well. Not gonna make a comment on
This
that.
was a weird run of like Ashley Tisdale like
Wait,
getting a
wasn't
bunch
that
of roles that I was like
a
going out
movie?
for, and I was like, what is going on?
What? That's random. That's
I'm so confused.
No, Hollywood's really weird,
Yeah.
and you have to like just really like not have
feelings.
feelings.
Yeah. Just cut them off. Just cut them
You
off.
gotta have like, zero feelings about it.
So how did you come across Stan? Because you're not a horror person. So like, how did Stan Against Evil happen?
I auditioned.
you're like it's an
like,
audition and I'm taking it.
Yeah, like Dana wrote the role for Janet, and they were like pals ahead of time. But Nate and I had to audition, and then there was like offers out for like it was. I was in the like waiting room with a lot of people that were reading for Stan as well. It was a funny.
Wait, who else?
For Stan?
It was funny smorgasbord.
I can't picture, like, I guess.
I know. I thought it was like written for him.
I really thought it was written for him. It wasn't. Oh.
I think in like an ideal world, Dana would have played that role.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
But
and
I
then
think he did such a nice job as Kevin. Like, I just really.
Oh my god, yeah.
Also, just like, I enjoy people. Don't know how to say this without sounding condescending. But I enjoy people like your character and Kevin's character who really just are very happy with what life.
Yeah, they can roll.
They're not
roll with
overthinking things. A succubus pig comes into their life.
Okay. I'm gonna feed it bacon. I'm gonna feed it
I
bacon.
thought it was so cute when you and her are talking, and you're like, why do people think I can do better than Kevin? Kevin's great. I like Kevin. Like, I'm just want to spend time with Kevin. And then she's like, well, maybe think outside the industry. And she's like, well, I don't know. I don't know why I do that. Like, I enjoy those type of people because I know I am such a ridiculous overthinker. And I think it makes my life like a lot harder than it has to be. It's like, I envy people who can just really enjoy what they, and be like truly thankful. Like, even in the goat episode when you're like, you know what? You're right. I am picking blueberries by myself today. Like, I would have been like, well, what if I get lost in this blueberry patch? Will anybody find me? No. You were fine to go to a blueberry patch and then take home a possessed goat. I mean, you were just always good.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
I love that. And I love shows that have those kind of characters. Because I think so many shows, and especially so many sitcoms nowadays, you always have, like, the Ted Mosby character or the Ross Geller character, but they're just, like, over-analyzing, moping about everything. I'm like, I watch TV to get away from those things, which is why I watched, like, one episode of each of those shows and gave up. Like, I don't know what happened. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, because you want to watch TV to get away, and those are too much like the people I know in real life. Like, I don't want to hang out with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like the guest stars.
Yeah.
We're there to like just throw a little different flavor into the mix for that episode.
It's so memorable though.
Yeah.
I love it.
I worked so hard on Tiny Town.
Truly. Oh man, the things that came up for my character though were just so delightful, and like the art department truly, I mean, this woman named Molly Coffey, who I really think you should have on your podcast because she is
Love to.
So amazing, but she created all of that stuff. I don't know if you saw like any of like the dolls or like on my Instagram from Stan Against Evil. There are these dolls. She collects human teeth off the side of the road, and she like created all these dolls for Denise that like had human teeth as smiles and like a lot of
the stuff. The stuff that you had.
Yeah. She like most of the stuff in my room is hers. The entire like horse town she made. Like her brain is so incredible. She would spend like so much time. Like any other person with her job, like for our show, could have like phoned it in a couple, like for the amount of work that she put in for so many of these like episodes where I'm like, they didn't show enough of like, like down to like the guys, like she's so good, and I will give you her information because you should have her on. And
that would be amazing.
So into horror and all of that stuff, and like just like a huge person in the industry for females. There's like a whole network of female filmmakers and creatives in Atlanta, and she's amazing. But yeah, and I love her
to do that much, because I can't imagine that they gave her a extremely large budget to work with from IFC, that I feel like she was probably doing the most with the least.
Yeah.
In terms, truly, like, she's so good at that. Like,
yeah.
The sets that we would walk into that she had created for us, I'm like, oh my God. Like that episode where like the demon baby, we like walked into like this weird rundown gym that she turned into this like huge like pillow fort. I mean, guys, like I have like video of like some of the stuff, because truly they didn't capture all of it. Like,
yeah, that's
like
sad
things that like the camera would never pick up, but you like walk in and like what a treat, and like what like a feast for the eyes, and like an actor like.
I was gonna say, I hope she was an actor to like get into it. That's really cool.
So cool, yeah. She's the best. I love Molly Coffey. She's truly, and Dana towards like, I would say season 1, everything would be like, do you see what Molly's wearing right now? Can we like, that's what I want Denise to look like.
That's great.
So much of like both of us infused. It's incredible.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
That's awesome. And is that how she got on the show? Did Dana choose her specifically, or was she like
that's a great question.
Just a happy accident?
No, I mean, she's like a pretty big deal in Atlanta when it comes to like TV and stuff. But that's a great. I actually don't know the origin story of like how she like booked our job.
Yeah.
I mean, just her work.
When she comes on her show, we'll ask that.
yeah, and she's like an incredible writer and director as well. So she has like her own stuff going on. But yeah, no, it's oh man, I truly love her. I'm glad that this has turned into like a love fest for Molly.
Oh, yeah, she sounds awesome. I want to meet her now.
Yeah.
So back to Stand Against Evil, because that show was just hilarious. Did you guys laugh a lot like on set?
Oh my gosh, all the time.
Yeah.
How can you not?
I mean, just the written lines are funny, so I can only imagine the stuff that happened not even on camera.
Yeah. I think like I was closest to Nate and Janet, and some of the stuff we would do, we would just like, we didn't have a ton of time for outtakes. We didn't have a ton of time for multiple takes. So we were very like mindful of that. But I do feel like, I love that, like, I just keep going back to this episode, but the Nubbins episode, Nate and I are like very, very close. Like we were on the airplane together, flying to Atlanta for the very first time. And like, we got to know each other on the airplane ride. I was the only person at his wedding. Like we are that close.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, Nate, I really think that we should make up a dance for this episode. And so we did.
For the Nubbins song, right? The Nubbins song. That
Nubbins song we practiced really hard on. We made up a dance. And that's like just like truly our essence is in that dance and in that episode. Like all of those smiles, all those things, we were adventure buddies on the weekends. On our days off, we would go to like find the best barbecue or because it's truly like summer camp when you're not shooting where you're from, and you do hopefully make friends with your cast members, because those are the people that you can go to the aquarium. And so like we had the most fabulous adventures, and we are the best travel buddies. So it was, and we don't have a lot of like scenes together. So it was really fun to have that scene together and to like collaborate in that way. And oh man, did we have some, he's very serious about some of these dance moves, and what we should do and what we shouldn't do. So yeah, man, that was so much fun.
Did you spray it on everybody the day of, or did people know what was going to happen, or were you like, we just did
No, we like the day of, I was like, Dana, Nate and I have we've prepared something. And she was like, great. I was like, yeah, so we're gonna be doing this. And we shot that scene in like this weird antique store that is like actually like those things, the majority of the things in that store were actually for sale. And so like in between takes we were like trying to buy stuff, but yeah, I mean, that's so. I could tell you stories for days. I mean, truly, every single location had like a different story or like weird thing that happened. But yeah, that was such a fun day, and truly, we could not keep it together. Like I would, I would like see him like out of the corner of my eye, and he just like has this like way about him when he turns it on.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. So yeah, that was such a fun day too.
I just want to give you a little inside Hollywood tip in case you've never heard this. If you are ever to work for Amy Sherman Palladino, don't improv. Don't make things up. In season 8, she let Lauren Graham improv one line. So technically 7 seasons working with Lauren Graham, one line once. She runs the tightest of ships. Don't try it.
There are people that you bring stuff to the table, and there are people that you play by the rules.
I think I'd want to work with people who are open to creativity and having fun and adding to it.
We knew going into it that we could have been shot down.
Yeah, right.
We're not riding on any high horse where we're like, we're gonna do this. And we're not gonna say no. But yeah.
But also, I think at that point you also knew Dana's personality enough to know that a shoot down was
a
probably
strong possibility.
Was probably not going to happen. Like that, he's a very receptive person to that kind of energy. Me, I like a structure. Like I think I would do better if I was an actress on a set with an
Amy Palladino.
Yeah. Just say this line this way, sweetie. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
One of my favorite scenes from one of your favorite episodes, The Girls' Night, was right when the guy starts talking to Janet and he says, Denise is getting in the way. And she's like, oh, yeah. And then you come back and she's like, I used to have makeup on. I don't have makeup on anymore. And she like freaks out and you're like, my mom has makeup. and Janet's like, oh, that's what I need. A dead woman's makeup. That whole scene between you two is hilarious.
I had forgotten about that. Yeah, that's ooh, oh man.
It's funny because I expect that I know you probably exaggerated a little bit for the show, right? But the whole while we've been talking, like I just hear parts of like that's your actual, like you have these different inflections. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's me.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, there's reasons we book things in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I feel like the truer you are to a character, the easier. Not that you can't like put on different layers for different like I don't think any of my characters are like the same, but I feel like especially when you're starting out, the truer you are to yourself, and I think that's just like the art form these days. Like you have to have that truth of like a bit of you goes into it. It just comes off more authentic, and I think casting wise, especially as an unknown, it's easier to be like, oh, but she is that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think.
So we did.
I
agree. We tangented off of because you were telling us about your auditions. So what happened? You said that you were auditioning, and there were a lot of people auditioning for Stan, and then we went off on a tangent like we usually do. But
sure. My fault. I'm like,
no, it happens. It happens. Yep. We do it often.
All the time.
But so you're telling us about your audition experience and what happened, because it's horror, and if you're not like, you were just like, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah. So my audition, I mean, I had done I think I was like in a horror play at the time where I was like, which one was I in? I was in a couple, but I think the one at that time I was like playing a possessed something, and like maybe like a witch that was turning into a possessed something or other. And I remember my audition was I had to do, maybe it was like the blueberry picking scene where I was talking to my dad. So like that part where it's like very like innocent, like a bit, outer space person.
Yeah.
And then the other one was I had to be possessed, because in season 1 I get possessed.
Yeah. Like, I was going to ask about that.
I wanted to know if I could actually go there. And so like I had to do that. And I remember, and this, I feel like this is true. I'll speak for myself because I don't know about other people, but I always feel like the things I book are things where I'm like, that could have gone better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how that went.
And the day that I went, I remember I couldn't find a parking space. It was the one day of the year that it decided to like just open the skies, rain in Los Angeles, and I don't have an umbrella. You don't have umbrellas in your car in Los Angeles. It never rains.
Yeah.
And so I like showed up. I was very soggy, and I
Always comes
I love it.
soggy.
very soggy. And I like saw all these other girls there, and like I'm an insecure human creative, so of course I was like, oh man, they all look like the part. I don't have this. And so I go in, I like do my thing. I got zero feedback. Like I felt from and this is my perception, of course. Yeah. Maybe they loved me. But I felt like the casting directors didn't like me at all. And I was just like, I don't know. I got in the car and I was like, oh, that really could have gone a lot better. And then I didn't think twice, because then I like throw away my sides and I like try to wipe it from my brain so I don't like spin out about it.
Yeah.
And I just remember getting like the call being like, so you're going back. It's between you and another girl. And I'm like, whoa, that went real fast.
Yeah.
There's more steps. And I was like, okay. And I remember showing up to the audition, seeing the other girl, knowing the other girl, and being like, oh man, she's really good. They're probably going to pick her. And I remember like I decided in that moment to like take myself out of the situation. Like sitting in a waiting room with other actors can be weird. And like feeding off of that energy. And it just like, I don't know. When you know other people, you're also like rooting for them, but you're also like, oh, this feels weird because I also want it. And I just remember being like, I'm going to go to the bathroom for like a really long time. I'm just going to like take myself out of this situation. And I remember like going to the bathroom, and there was like someone else in there. So I was like waiting. There was a penny on the floor, and I was like, oh, and I'm very superstitious. And so I like picked up this penny, and it was heads up. And I was like, this is good luck. Like, I feel like I've got this. And then I immediately like, felt bad that I like had found the penny and this other girl didn't. And I was like, I'm just gonna take it. I'm gonna like own it and like take it. And I like went and did the audition, met the directors, met Dana, did my thing, did the whole thing where I was possessed. And I remember leaving being like, okay, I still don't know. I don't know, I guess. And then like got the call. But like The Great Indoors, I was the third Esther. I replaced 2 other people.
Oh, wow.
And I auditioned for that, and I heard 2 months later, like, hey, you're still in the mix. And I was like, in the mix of what? Like, what are you talking about?
like they want me to be in the audience? What?
I was like, what is that? And they're like, that thing you auditioned for? And I was like, oh, man, I had forgotten about that. I had 1 audition. And then I got the call that were like, oh, you're still in the mix. And then the next day, they were like, oh, you booked it. And I was like, what? So it's like, I feel like all of my stuff is like things where I'm like, I want it, absolutely. Yeah. But it's not like I'm like, I knew I got that. Yeah. Like, truly. Right. Always like, I flubbed a line. Like, I remember like the process for pilots back in the day. I don't know if they still do this or not, but with so many process. Like, you see the studio, and then you see the, like, or you see like the producers, and then you see the studio, and like, it's like all these things, and it's all very like stress box, terrible. And I remember I made it to the very last round, so many rounds of that pilot I did with Rebel, and I had a nervous breakdown because I am a nervous ball of energy. I did it. I flubbed my lines because I'm severely dyslexic, so I like inverted my lines and I like flubbed them. I remember just going to the bathroom and truly getting on the floor and just like sobbing and being like, that's it, I'm never gonna make it in Hollywood, like ever. And I remember coming back to the waiting room because I wasn't allowed to leave until you were excused, and they were like, you're gonna come back in, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back in.
Great,
like,
ready.
Come back in, and like they were like, we want you to be like emotional to see if like, you know, if the season goes, you can like not just be, because I was playing, surprise, like a very like bimbo-y type like airhead. And I just remember being like, there's no way. Like, I flubbed that line. Like, I just like crumbled into a puddle. Like, that's not like, and sure, and like, you would think I would know by now that like, yeah, you booked it now. But I know, like, there's just like, it just like, just to go back to it, like, there's no rhyme or reason in Hollywood. I just feel like it's luck and being prepared, and I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Don't become an actor. I tell everybody, I'm like, please don't. Like, it's not for everyone.
I have zero desire.
I'm trying to get rid of the desire, but it's there.
Ooh.
But I know it's rough.
It's so rough. And then you're like, I'm like, even being here, you know, if you're not on something actively, and especially when I was on 2 shows at one time, like I set a bar for myself. You're always out of work, you know.
Yeah.
My friend Karen, who he's like done so many things, and he worked with Josh Brolin, and like even Josh Brolin was like, yeah, man, I don't know about my next job. I think he did like Sicario, and then there was like 18 months until his next job, and he didn't know. The same feelings I have now about like in between jobs, like Josh Brolin was having. So it never goes away.
Right.
It's not for the faint of heart. You're always out of work. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Playing so many roles. I mean, now there's like a lot, because I can't imagine back in the day when there were only like 2 movies coming out a month and 4 TV shows on TV. It was like, that was super rough. But now you've got at least a broader chance. But it's still rough out there, because a lot of the shows are reality shows, so you're still
or you like book a show and it gets buried, you know. Like, I did a whole season, but nobody knows about it because it's not buried. Like it's oh man, it's rough.
Now with auditions, like you said, it was between you and that other girl, and you knew her. Do you find that is harder when you know the person, or easier when you know the person?
It depends. Like if they're on a hot streak, it can really fuck with your head.
Gotcha.
You're like, oh man, they're booking everything right now. I don't know if this is gonna be me. Yeah. I mean, it just depends, and it's also like, how do you know that person? Like,
right.
Are you rooting for that person? You know.
Yeah. Do you actually want to get it?
You know what I mean? I feel like the majority of the time, I'm like, oh man, you're the best. I love you. I hope you get it. Like, and it's reciprocated, you know? Like, I feel like that's the majority of like comedic women, at least at UCB. Like, the one thing that you say to one another before you got on stage is like, I got your back. Like, that's the core value that all of us have at UCB. So like, there isn't that like, we're not competing with each other. We're genuinely rooting each other on. So yeah.
That's beautiful. I like that. I feel so sad for people who can't be genuinely happy and supportive of other people. And I feel like, Deborah, your energy, even just coming across a screen, is so supportive. I feel like if people saw that you were on a call sheet for a project, they'd be more excited to do the project. Like, I gotta be honest, while I have no desire to be an actress, if you guys would like me to play a dead extra in anything, if Deborah ever gets cast as a murderer and you would like her to kill me, I'm totally willing. I'm 100% game. I'm good to be killed. So I'm just gonna
put that in my waiver from now on, like that you will be the dead body, like that. That's that, and like my yellow M&Ms, you know, like those are just things.
Yes,
full of yellow M&Ms. I want Alicia as a dead body.
I know you weren't planning on me killing anybody, but no, I'm so sorry. Like, that's the way the story has to go.
This is a rom-com, ma'am. Yeah, this is a rom-com.
You're getting married. Why would you need a dead body at that? Well, I don't know.
Make it work.
Like, I hear about these writer stays, and they just sound like the craziest thing ever to me. Is that like in Hollywood, when you know you've like super made it, is when you can request the most ridiculous of writers?
I hope I'm never that person. I hope I will make it. I hope I am a household name and people are still saying, I'm excited to see you on the call sheet.
That's great.
I genuinely hope that the tides of Hollywood, and I know like within my circle, we all feel this way, but like my success is your success.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's such an old way of thinking about things, of like bringing weird shit to the table and weird insecurities, because all that other stuff, it's just insecurities. So I feel like there's a big shift of like, oh man, aren't you just so excited? And like, oh man, like, I love you and like that. Those are the things that like meld so well. Those are the things that like work and you love because we love it and we love each other. Like, those are the things that work. And so I think people are getting that. Even the casting process isn't as like gnarly as it used to be. And I think
that's good. I like to hear that.
Everything, like, and it trickles from the top, right? So like, I think there is, even though Hollywood, I feel like as progressive as it is and as old and stuck in its ways as it is, I truly do think that there is like a change. Even from when I moved out there straight from high school, I feel like the casting process is so much more like championing you in the room and not making you feel like shit. And like, I mean, I walked into a room early, straight out of high school. And I remember someone saying to me on the same day, like 2 different things. Oh, I don't understand you. Your voice is so weird, but you're so pretty. And the same day being like, oh, you're not pretty enough. And like, I don't know, you're going to have to like, I don't know, like so many things that like could truly crush you as a human and have absolutely nothing to do with my craft. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, no one says that anymore in a room. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
that's great.
Well, at least for me recently, there have been like other horrible things, but not nearly as much as it used to be.
But if like when you get to that level, if the director was like, I really love you, what's one thing that you would really like? What would be like your thing? Because I have mine in my head, so I want to know what yours is.
What's yours?
It's the
love
job.
You already have one as my dead corpse.
Well,
and my dog gets a writer too.
That one. So this is so. It's just okay. So my grandmother's favorite candy ever was peanut M&Ms, not a specific color.
Okay.
But I would want a 1-pound bag of M&Ms because that was always the biggest size you could get back when my grandmother was still with us, rest in peace. So she would always hide a 1-pound bag in like the cabinet above the fridge. So I would just want like a 1-pound bag of M&Ms on
in
set.
the cabinet
like,
above the fridge.
In the
like
cabinet.
in your trailer.
In my trailer, just in the cabinet. But like that would be my one thing. Like that's all. Like, because then I would feel like my grandmother's like was there.
Which also I feel like is such a beautiful story, so everyone would be like, oh my gosh, absolutely. like not like a big ask. I think you're going to be like, I don't know, I only need Ethan Allen things in my trailer, and like, I don't, like, and it's only everything has to be green, like, something's really going to break someone's back. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, there's some wild things people ask for, and I always just feel like, ooh, I don't, everyone's job is hard as it is already. We don't need to like be adding things, right? Like I'm happy to be working.
I feel so blessed to be working. I'd be like, what can I get you guys? Like,
really?
I can get my own water. I'm fine. How can I help you guys out? I can't imagine being demanding in any.
Oh, we have somebody who wants to say goodnight. I'm sorry. Hold on. He's going to have his own podcast.
Good. What a cutie patootie.
Thank you.
For sure.
That's what everybody says to me. I see what happens to kids in Hollywood, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just if you let them go and don't like chill with them while they're on set.
True.
Yeah. I was supposed to be a Hollywood like kid star. I booked a pilot when I was 8. Which one was it? It was like something in, I can't even remember now. But I booked it. It was like a big 80s. I was supposed to be like the kid, like whatever.
Small Wonder.
No, something. Oh, Mom, my mom. I'm terrible. But anyway, I booked it, and my mom said no. She was like, no. And I didn't know this until years later, and I was like, I could have had my SAG card. I could have been so further. I could have been Barrymore. But like, yeah, she was like, no, we have other, like, you have siblings, and this is all consuming. And I think at that point she had seen how like Drew was obviously older than me, but like how things can play out as child actors. You can get a real childhood, and she was like, I really want that for you. I want you to have like a real childhood.
I think that's beautiful. I think your mom gave you a blessing there.
Yeah, and she was like, and if this is something that you still really want to do, you can do it. And sure enough, like I never stopped. So, but I always wonder like what it could have been.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
Like,
you could be, I don't
in
even
rehab?
know. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
worst case scenario. You
Mhm.
could have been doing multiple stints on Celebrity Rehab.
Yeah. With
Could
Dr.
have.
Drew.
I
Yeah.
just found out that Rod Stewart's son was on that a bunch of times. I was like, interesting.
I
Okay.
used to love that show. That was my jam.
I'm like, but Rod Stewart's son, I feel like we're really scrounging at the name celebrity there.
Oh, yeah.
That's more my point.
Like celebrity
Yeah,
adjacent rehab.
you grow up with all of that stuff though. Like,
Yeah, no, I
think
understand.
that's more of you have the last name and you have the lifestyle, and that's gonna be so hard as a kid to navigate. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And you don't know who your real friends are. You don't know,
100%, yeah.
like you don't know who's real in your life. That is rough.
Yeah, real rough. Ugh. Anyway, get your child an agent.
On that note.
On that note, make your child famous.
There we go.
Send him to Los Angeles.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, no, at 3, he's good to fly by himself, right? I've got to be on that flight with him.
500%. Yeah, that's what stewardesses are for.
Right. So, any final thoughts before we leave you? I feel like we have kept you here quite a while,
so
Deborah.
Guys, I'm having so much fun. You haven't kept me at all. I enjoy you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, you've been a blast. This has been so much fun.
Thank you so much for having me. Anytime.
Oh,
yeah, we would
we'll have you back on, yeah.
We'll have me back on after when we do our things where I kill Alicia and it's gonna be fine and
Yeah.
She can talk about her 1 pound bag of peanut M&Ms.
Yeah.
You get it right.
You wing woman for me.
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny because talking about my grandmother, so we were at Costco and the giant, the goal, the 5 pound container of M&Ms is there, and I was like, we're not getting that for the house, but we're hosting the family reunion. I said, so we'll get it for the family reunion. It'd be like a little memorial to grandmother. Let's all have some M&Ms in Marilyn's memory. Yeah, so.
Oh, I love that.
Really, any excuse to eat peanut M&Ms is really what I'm talking about.
It's never a bad time to eat.
No, not at all. Deb, what's your go-to snack food, guys? What's yours?
What is my go-to snack food? I am a freak for ice cream.
So is Alicia.
Love it. So does my husband. Oh, thank you. He's mouthing to me. He's like, let me tell you what it is. Right. Truly, my kryptonite is Oreos. Double stuffed Oreos.
I was gonna say.
Love an Oreo.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's hard for me. It's real hard for me, and I love them so much. Do I dunk them? I do, and I know some people don't, and I think you're a monster.
I don't want to know those people.
That's fine. You shouldn't know those people. My brother-in-law, I and my mother. You need to dunk it. That's how they advertise it. And if it gets too soggy, that's okay. Use a spoon.
That's perfect.
Yes, 100%.
I love it. That's the one thing I like soggy.
Yeah.
Just hold it out in the Georgia air and it gets.
Yeah, there we go.
Perfect. Dip it right out your window. Truly.
Yeah, I was gonna say Oreos was gonna be mine. I can't do double stuff though. For some reason, I don't think the ratio is actually double because I can eat 8 regular Oreos, but with double stuff, I'm done with 2. So I think their ratio is off.
I love it all.
So you're saying you can do double stuff?
I love the double. I love the regular.
Oh,
I love
golden.
I love them so much.
Yeah.
Truly.
Oh.
Yeah.
The golden Oreos. Have you had?
They're so good.
I haven't done carrot. They have carrot cake ones. I think I haven't done. I haven't ventured.
I'm okay. Yeah. I don't need to cross those lines. I like to keep it. You know what I mean? That's fine, and people are very excited about that. I'm not, and that's okay. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm keep it. I could do mint. I actually like the mint ones, and the chocolate is the furthest I will go.
I've had the peanut butter ones, which are okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had those.
But I'm also not a big fan of like a ton of like Oreos. I'm not a big fan of like artificial stuff.
Oreos is where I draw the line.
My mom the other day was like complaining to someone about like veggie burgers and like Beyond Meat stuff. And I'm like, Mom, you like Oreos. You can't be mad about it. She's like, it's made in a factory. Like whatever,
Like,
what is even in it? And I was like, what's in
what is in an Oreo?
Those.
I don't even know how to make an Oreo. Like, I can make a chocolate chip cookie. I don't know how to make an Oreo.
Yeah.
I do not know, nor do I even want to try. They have perfected it. Why do I need to?
Right.
Yeah, it's the perfect cookie.
All right. Well, this has been so much fun.
It really has.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me, guys. And I truly do feel honored I'm your first lady.
Yeah.
We're honored that you're our first lady. Shoot, I just realized I was super far away from my microphone.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
I was texting you. I was like, you're away from the microphone.
I'm nowhere near my phone, so.
I like it. You were relaxed. You're like, yeah, it was good. I was really like, yeah.
Totally forgot. Poor Jen, she's in charge of editing. She's gonna have to figure out that. Well, it happens. Yeah, no, I love inside snippets, and it makes me really happy. Although you don't seem like the type of individual who has an unkind word for anyone, but I'm so glad that the people that I told you that I love, you confirmed my love of them. So I'm just gonna enjoy that some more.
You should. And all of those people are truly wonderful humans. Yeah. I wouldn't talk about them if they weren't.
So if she didn't talk about you, you're not a great human.
Yeah,
you know it.
We'll end on that note.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming, Deborah. We had so much fun.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Good to see you.
We'll
good to see you again.
For any shows or anything, we will link everything that Deb's been in the description and where you can find it. So
yeah, link her Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, come by, say hi, and if you have any questions for Deborah, we'll take them and we'll ask them the next time she's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Perfect.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Have a good weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye.